and welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Vasyl Shabchenko, former Transportation Minister of Ukraine. Vasyl, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for invitation, for cooperation. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. You know, Vasyl, you sent me a clip earlier this week with Russia training kids, recruiting kids for the military. And that's a troubling atmosphere. I heard of that. I used to hear of that many years ago, how dictators would train young kids for the military and to fight wars and so forth. But in this 21st century, it seems a little bit drastic. It seems, I see the urgency for assistance on Russia's part. It shows signs of desperation. Those things capture my attention very much because I believe that desperate people do desperate things under desperate pressure. What you think is the result for Putin to have young children getting trained in the military?
I think that I will not be able to answer for this really deep questions, because first of all, we don't know what is in his head, and we know that being in the power long term can reflect for mental health sometimes. And I think that now we have understood that his ideas misleading world and misleading his own country and his own children. And he have committed biggest war in Ukraine since the Second World War, and it have led a lot of casualties. 100,000 people were killed or were wounded at this war, and we know that he tried to play games. He maybe received in his KGB past, and he decided to play it. But he didn't know, and he didn't see this casualties and this poor people who were killed at the battle line. And now he made it again. And first of all, he provoked it because of attempt to demonstrate that he is a powerful person in the world, just to demonstrate that his army is powerful and Russia is strong and rich country. But it appeared after 16 months war in Ukraine, it appeared that he is weak, old, and the person who is on the brink of his life and his power. And all the things happened, first of all, thanks our partners, our Western partners who supported Ukraine in our worst time and provide us ammunition, because Ukraine has been fighting with Russia since 2014, but those times they were back so-called insurgents and so-called public republics, which they decided to create at the captured territory, and this was weakening. And then we remember that Putin wanted to demonstrate that he is a person who can order NATO countries, and just before the war, he demanded to withdraw troops and to move influence NATO bloc back. But we know that this bloc was formed just to prevent Soviet Union action and them Russia's actions. And it appeared that he demonstrated it in Ukraine and decided to capture Ukraine immediately. But now he have received a lot of casualties, and now he is holding last part of our territory, and he decided to send to Ukraine all his troops he has. He forced to walk all industry at the territory which was occupied just to build fortifications. They are restoring their military industry just to provide a lot of bombs, missiles, tanks, etc. And we know that his action and his so-called team doesn't believe in this victory and doesn't believe that they will manage to defeat Ukraine with Western allies and with Western technologies. And we know that we will demonstrate him, but which price will we have for it? It's main questions: how to defeat him and to save thousand or hundred thousand of lives, and its main. And today we can say that we are together and we are fighting against autocracy and against cruel enemies.
Yes. I want to answer this question. Over the weeks, Ukraine had mounted a very large offensive operation against Russia and had reclaimed a lot of its territory. With the insurrection that Russia just experienced a week ago, did that have any positive impact in how the Ukrainian military perceive Russia to be at this point?
Yes, but Ukraine forces have started offensive operation, but now they are looking for weak points because it appeared that Russia Federation decided to draft million soldiers, and a big part of them they immediately sent to Ukraine, and at the same time they decided to produce a lot of ammunition to send to Ukraine, and you know that they are using big caliber, and they are transporting it to Ukraine by railway. And for it, Ukraine forces are looking for the way to find support from Western countries, from United States, to have fighter jets, which would allow us to prevent this opportunity to dominate in the sky, because all our offensive operations facing with really heavy artillery fire. For example, we don't have domination our in our artillery power against Russian. We have similar power, and at the same time we are not able to offense. To send infantry soldiers to die and to capture city with big casualties, and because if we get Ukraine's Russia border for 1991, it doesn't mean that war will end. It means that we must be powerful all our life, and we will live in these conditions until Russia will exist in this type of ruling under autocracy. And because of it, you could see that Ukraine commander-in-chief Valery Zaluzhny gave an interview for Washington Post, and he asked for additional support from Western countries, and he commented that he is in deep communication with his United States counterpart, General McMilley. And he commented that he concerning air defense and concerning firefighters, fighter jets. It's a question which is which can be solved by top politicians, NATO countries or Ramstein meeting countries, because the current situation have demonstrated that we are ready to offense, but you know that on the eve of offensive operations, they decided to explode Ukraine's dam, and decided to flood big territory just to prevent our offensive operation. And now I can comment that we are ready to act, and we are ready to fight, but we are in communication with our partners about how to react for Russia's new tactics. Now we can see that they are listening our conversation and listening experts' opinions.
Yeah, I want to take a look at the long-term future for you. Sorry. Yes, I want to take a look at the long-term future for Ukraine. Now, a vast majority of Russians don't believe this war is justified. We saw uprising in Russia earlier this year when a lot of Russians were thrown into prison because they simply didn't want to train to go to war. Some fled the nation of Russia because they just didn't want to get engaged in war against Ukraine. With that said, despite all the dictatorial standards that may exist in Ukraine, do you see a shift in the future of the younger generation mentality from dictatorial standards to democracy, and may very well want to see that Russia become a democratic society opposed to a dictatorship society? What is your opinion?
To be honest, thank you. We have seen that their type of power is weak. And we have seen that person who formed gangs and who drafted prisoners to mercenary army in Ukraine have started or have started his resistance movement against his partner, but former partner. But I don't know that he was their partner. He was serving them meetings when they were sharing Russia's assets, and he knows a lot, and he decided to demonstrate that he has opportunity to redirect his mercenaries from Ukraine to Russia. And one day demonstrated that he without any resistance, because all troops from Russia Federation are in Ukraine, and there are not any military units which could stop 600 mercenaries which were moving against Moscow. And you could see that all officials from Moscow disappeared, and including president, whose plane flew from the Moscow. It was demonstration how they will react, and it have demonstrated their opportunities to resist. And I think that it isn't the end of this domestic problems. It's only start, and I think that it will continue, and it will demonstrate us. And I think that after autocracy will come something different, or must come something different. They have no way except of building new country. And which type of country, how many country will be formed, because we know that Russia has big territory, and all this territory are not occupied, and better to say, are not prepared for ordinary life, because in Russian people living only in a few cities, and all this territory are not ready for civilization. And I think that nearest future they will have negotiations about it, if this place will be a new country, because Russia has natural resources, but all profits from their natural resources they are directed for arming, and they are shelling missiles just to kill Ukrainian children. And it's type of war, and it's type of behavior, and it's type of their treating to their neighbors and people who's living close to them. And because of it, I think Russia can collapse. But I don't know how much time will it take. Maybe half year or year. But as usual, it can collapse immediately, because all dictatorship, as usual, are falling unexpectedly. One day they have 90% support, and next day they can be present their followers, previous followers, and I think we will see the same. And for us, this situation demonstrated that Russian's country are not powerful, are not effective, and that there are not any executive body, because we saw that all this National Guard units, police units disappeared, because you know that mercenary group leader easily captured a big city with millions people, and they were visiting him, bringing him and his soldiers waters, food, and were ready to support them. But he isn't. He isn't person who's ready to had new resistance moment, and because he is from his team, and he decided to demonstrate it because of he lack of money for his companies, lack of contract for his company, and now we can see that all this his assets are being sold, because he had media group Patriot, which is being sold, and his assets will be arrested nearest future, and he I think will be arrested, and or according to the Russia's behavior officials, it must be done.
Okay. Do you think that under President Zelensky leadership, in the future moving forward, when this war is all over, that he's going to focus on making his military more self-reliable than depending solely on its allies for assistance should an event like this happens again?
First of all, I'd say that Ukraine, when it was part of Soviet Union, it was so-called sophisticated hub, and Ukraine was producing a lot of ammunition. And military ammunition and high sophisticated technology. And now we are ready to exchange now our country, but for our goods we need markets. For example, we cannot provide any good our goods to Europe, and we are going to be part of Europe, and I hope nearest future we will have, and borders will be cancelled, and turnover with European Union will give us new opportunities, because we have produced a lot of different type of raw materials. First of all, it's products. Ukraine has 10 place in the world, 10% in the world. Ukraine providing foods, and we can do a lot of more recycling these products and providing European and world markets. But it will happen if we have European market, and will be part of world market. And then we have received the number of proposals from company which is producing, for example, tanks and high sophisticated technology, and Ukraine's domestic industry which producing drones are growing. And it's being found by Ukrainians. We every day donates for producing drones in different companies, and we have a lot of it. And after this invasion, world will be militarized, and demand for military ammunition will be growing maybe dozens of years. And because of it, we have good chances to improve our gross domestic products. For example, we have our neighbor's country, Poland, and her budget after after including in European Union had risen 10 times. And it means that we will have similar growth, and we will have additional advantages. And we must know that a new reality will demonstrate us what is more important, and what main ground for producing products will be in the world, because we have a good base for development industry, and now we don't know how China will behave in nearest future, because we have had many times that China tries to demonstrate that they are powerful country, and they try to demonstrate that they are weaponizing, and you know that they have created their fighter jets. It's similar to Russians, and they are producing tanks, and they are producing armed vehicle, a lot of it, and it means that they are weaponizing, and no one knows will democratic countries cooperate with them or not. It depends on their behavior, and we know that now there is no deep conversation about Taiwan, because they saw that Ukraine's case and Ukraine's ally have demonstrated China that we are together, and we will defeat all our enemies. And it's a good experience for them, and they understood that it isn't a good idea for China using military forces to capture Taiwan. And